Hello my beautiful people of the world, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, but probably welcome. If you are new here, thank you for joining. We talk about all things conspiracies and spooking, chilling on this channel. If you are not new here, thank you for joining as always. I really do appreciate you so much. And I don't like to talk too long in these intros, so without further ado, let's jump right into it, because today we're going to be talking about something you've probably heard of, but maybe you don't really know where it comes from, what it is, or to what extent things are actually happening. Today, we're going to be talking about the Mandela Effect. Now, I'm sure you have heard this term everywhere. People all over the internet talk about different Mandela effects they've seen or heard or perhaps found on their own. But let's talk about what the Mandela Effect actually is before we get into it, because a lot of people don't actually know what that is. And for anybody out there that doesn't know what it is absolutely okay that you don't, because you only know what you only know, okay? So don't ever feel stupid for not knowing something, and don't let someone make you feel stupid for not knowing something, okay? All right. So the term Mandela Effect was actually coined in 2009 by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But it was after she discovered that many people shared her same memory that Nelson Mandela had actually died in prison during the 1980s. Now, I don't know about you, how old you are, if you remember this at all, but this is my memory. This is my memory, that he died in prison in the 1980s. That's just what I knew. And I'm 30 years old, okay? So I wasn't even born then. But that's what I remember. That's what I always remember growing up hearing. However, in reality, Mandela was released from prison in 1990, and he didn't end up dying until 2013. And the surprising part is, it wasn't just one person who remembered it this way. It was thousands of people that remembered this. But since then, when people experience similar events, they have coined it the term Mandela Effect. And one of the most popular examples that I'm sure you have seen is the Bernstein Bears versus the Bernstein Bears, however you want to pronounce it. I remember the correct way. Or things like Star Wars, with the line being, "Luke, I am your father," versus it actually being, "No, I am your father." That's just silly. He always said Luke. Okay, but whatever. But there are so many others. The Kit Kat dash in between Kit and Kat, Chick-fil-A being spelt wrong, the Monocle Man, and the hill that I will always die on is the cornucopia with fruit of the loom. Okay, I don't care how crazy they call us. No, there was a cornucopia, okay? Anyways, and there are so many other Mandela effects in the world. I could go on for days and days. And if you want me to make a video on Mandela effects, leave a comment below. Like this video so I know, okay? But today we're going to be talking about all the reasons why we might experience these Mandela effects. Some more scientific and some a little otherworldly. Now, speaking on the scientific explanation of things, psychologists just say that the Mandela effect is a form of collective false memory. And human memory isn't like experiencing a video that you're just replaying. Instead, each time you remember something, your brain actually reconstructs it using past experiences, expectations, patterns, suggestions from others, or even similar memories. And one silly example of this is, imagine playing telephone with somebody when you're a kid. You whisper something in someone's ear, and then they whisper it, and they whisper it, and they whisper it, and it comes back to you, and it's completely jumbled and different. It's a little like that. And oftentimes, after hearing other people say the same thing, your confidence in the memory can increase, even if it's inaccurate. Like, I'm sure you've heard the term when people say, "Oh, this person lied so much that now they believe their own lie." It's like that. And researchers have even demonstrated in experiments that people can develop vivid memories of events that never actually happened. Now, there's a case that I'm going to bring to your attention, which you may have heard of, and I'm sorry, but I'm actually going to ruin it for you. But this is just a great example of how your mind can think about something and turn it into something that was never actually true. Now, maybe you guys have heard of the legend of this man, and I will pop up a picture of him right here for you. Now, if you've never seen this picture before, around 2008, a website called thisman.org appeared with a strange claim. And according to the site, in 2006, a psychiatrist had a patient draw the face of a man who repeatedly showed up in her dreams, and other patients supposedly recognized this face. And soon, over 2,000 people from cities all over the world claimed they had also dreamt about this man. And I want to know, have you dreamt about this man? But in these people's dreams, this man was described as giving advice, creepily, silently watching, and simply just appearing in the background of a dream. And if you have seen this man before, I'm sorry I'm about to break the facts down to you. There is a real story behind this, and years later this truth came out that this entire phenomenon was created by an Italian sociologist and marketing artist named Andrea Nutella, and it was part of a guerrilla marketing project designed to explore how urban legends spread, why people believe mysterious stories, and how easily the internet can create a global myth. There was no verified psychiatrist, no documented database of thousands of dream reports, and no evidence that the original story had ever actually happened. So yes, it was all just a hoax, a myth, a marketing scheme to show just how easily your mind can be swayed to believe things that never actually happened. And maybe you're like, but I have dreamt of this man. But it's probably because at some time during your scrolls through the internet, you probably came across a picture of this man, even subconsciously just sliding by when your focus wasn't even on it. That's how easily that your mind can be swayed. Now, another theory why Mandela effects happen is the multiple universe theory. And obviously, this is where things can become speculative because it really depends on what you believe in. So one popular idea is that the Mandela effect happens because people somehow remember events from another universe. Imagine reality as millions of parallel universes. In one universe, Bernstein bears existed. In another universe, Bernstein bears existed, and some people suggest that your consciousness can slip between universes, leaving them with memories from the previous one. So, if you happen to switch universes, everything might look the same except for tiny little details. And most of the Mandela effects that come with this are the ones that involve small changes like different spellings and logos, rather than huge historical events like Nelson Mandela. There's also something called quantum immortality, and this idea is inspired by the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. And in this idea, it suggests that imagine you are driving, for instance, and in one reality, you avoid an accident, and in another reality, you end up getting in a fatal accident. Well, now imagine that your consciousness always continues along a branch where you survive, which can explain why some people report feeling that reality seems subtly different after a near-death experience. And maybe you've heard of a case recently where a girl was in a coma for a few weeks and she woke up thinking that she had lived in another reality where she had children. And she said that her life felt so real, and when she woke up, she was so confused that that reality actually didn't happen. And depending on what you believe in, that could be a case where she happened to pass in that reality and she woke up in this one. Now, obviously, this is just an idea, a theory, and there is no scientific evidence that your consciousness actually moves between worlds or universes. But now let's talk about something that's a little more real, and that is the CERN theory. Now, if you don't know what CERN is the world's largest particle physics laboratory, featuring massive particle accelerators. I know, that literally sounds like something out of a movie, but it's real. And it was founded in 1954. And basically, physicists and engineers at CERN use the world's largest and most complex scientific instruments to study fundamental particles. And subatomic particles are made to collide together at close to the speed of light, which is very, very, very fast. But this process gives us clues about how particles interact and provides insight to the fundamental laws of nature. And some people claim that the experiments at CERN are actually somehow changing reality. Some people believe that particle collision alters space-time, or that it even merges timelines, and because of this, memories can become mixed. But obviously, scientists reject this idea and say that the energies produced at CERN are far smaller than naturally occurring cosmic ray collisions that strike Earth's atmosphere every day. And there's obviously no evidence these experiments can alter history or merge timelines, so they say. Now, very recently, June 29th, 2026 to be specific, one of their machines that they named LHC for short was actually switched off, but it was switched off to begin a planned 4-year upgrade known as LS3, or Long Shutdown 3. But there's a lot of people that are speculative of why this was actually shut down, and people believe that this could have something to do with our universe changing as well. Not only could it be causing Mandela effects, but even the fact that time itself might be speeding up. But that is a whole other video in itself. Now, maybe you've heard of the simulation theory, and a lot of people believe that these Mandela effects are caused because of software updates within the simulation. So if our universe were a computer simulation, perhaps then maybe an object gets updated. History gets rewritten, and some people happen to retain the old data or old memories. Another theory proposes that dimensions occasionally overlap, so instead of just changing and switching to a different universe or a different timeline, reality briefly intersects with one another, and some suggest that these memories can bleed across during these overlaps. Now obviously, all these theories involving a simulation, different or multiple universes, timelines, dimensions, none of these can actually be proven. But there's also a lot of people out there who refuse to believe the scientific explanation either. So the question remains, why do so many people share the same false memory? Psychologists give many explanations for this, saying that some people tend to remember the gist of things rather than the exact details, and that our brains naturally fill gaps with what seems most likely. And you've probably done this plenty of times, thinking about something that you learned in school called context clues. It's almost like filling in the blanks. As well, repeated exposure to the same incorrect information can strengthen confidence in it, and similar words, images, or stories can tend to blend together over time. Now, parallel universes are discussed in some areas of theoretical physics, but again, there's really no evidence that people can remember events from another universe if it does exist. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that parallel universes are impossible. It just means that we don't currently have evidence linking them to Mandela effects. Mandela effects seem to be so appealing to people because they sit right on that fine line between what we know about memories and the bigger questions about nature and reality. And now that you know some of the ideas and theories behind the Mandela effect, let me know, what do you think is actually possible? What do you believe in? And was there ever a cornucopia on that fruit balloon? Because yes, there was, okay? Okay. But seriously, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have any new Mandela effects that you want to talk about? And do you want me to make a video specifically talking about different Mandela effects? Because there are a ton, and there are a ton of new ones. I'm looking at you, Willy Wonka, okay? If you ask me, I always think that there's something more going on that we don't know about. But hopefully, one day we will. But alright you guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. If you made it this far, please go ahead, leave a like for me, subscribe, it's free, and it helps me out so much so I can continue making these videos for you, and I love doing so. Again, I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.